A video was recently released from Damian Lillard and his team that throws shade on the Toronto Raptors star. So we'll discuss that, including a very interesting report that came from Brian Windhorst regarding the Toronto Raptors and the organization making a minor trade. So lots of stuff to break down. Before we jump into any of that, we have a very exciting announcement. As this video is brought to you by Rentals.ca. And as you guys know, Rentals.ca is Canada's largest apartment hunting network. You can rent apartments, houses, condos, whatever it is, Rentals.ca has you covered all across the country. No matter what city you're in, Toronto, Montreal, wherever the heck you're watching, Rentals.ca has you covered. Their website's clean. It's extremely easy to use. You can pinpoint exactly on the map where you're looking to rent and then find the perfect rental location. And not only are they given to you guys in rentals, they're also potentially giving you a month's free rent. That's right. If you check out the link in the description or in the pinned comment of this video, you can enter to win potentially a month's free rent straight on Rentals.ca. You can make upwards of $2,500. All you have to do, be 18 years or older, sign up using the link down in the description. It's really easy to sign up, very easy process, and win some free cash, win a month's free rent. So shout out to Rentals.ca for supporting this channel, supporting the Toronto Raptors, and supporting you guys as well. Well, one guy that isn't supporting at least Toronto Raptors players is Damian Lillard. Now, he has been in the news a bunch in the past few days regarding potential trade. Well, we know he requested a trade from the Portland Trailblazers, but the Toronto Raptors potentially getting involved in a deal, in a potential little scheme to acquire another disgruntled superstar. We've seen Masai Ujiri do it in the past. Maybe he's trying to do it again. If you want the whole details, everything broken down, check out the last video on that. But Damian Lillard, a video has surfaced with him and his team especially throwing a little bit of shade on a Toronto Raptors star. And I get, well, maybe some people roast the star. Well, you know what? He was certainly a star during this summer as Dennis Schroder, newly acquired point guard, a guy that, yes, has been a starting elite six-man, average starting point guard in the NBA so far this year, but was the MVP of the World Cup. He was a guy that took Team Germany, that was loaded with talent, was the best player on that squad, was the leader of that team, and won the championship. And then basically Damian Lillard, when talking about, oh, what does it mean to be a world champion, all that sort of stuff, him and his team threw a little bit of disrespect onto Dennis Schroder's name. So we'll basically pull up this video and let you guys see for yourselves.
They getting smoked.
For sure getting smoked.
Take the best players from the NBA and put them in every league and against all the best teams, whatever, they getting smoked.
Bro, they just had Dennis Schroder win MVP or some crazy shit.
Oh yeah.
I mean, that's all I'm saying. All I'm saying is this.
I'm like, hell no.
All of those players, if you take those players off of their countries, they play in the NBA.
They come to it too.
They come to the NBA from these countries, so.
Okay, I get it. Dennis Schroder, he is not the player of a Damian Lillard. There's no arguments against that. Damian Lillard's averaging 32 points per game. Dennis Schroder averaged 13 last year. 4.5 assists, 2.5 rebounds, 33% from the three-point line. Again, not a guy that's a superstar in the NBA. You know, MVP of the National Basketball Association. That's for sure. That's 100% a thing. But the way they kind of threw out Dennis Schroder's name, like he was some scrub, like he was some random guy from, you know, your YMCA that's cooking up some random play. I mean, Dennis Schroder did this to Team USA. And yes, Damian Lillard makes the argument about the world championships and stuff. And personally, it's just semantics and stuff. Like, it doesn't really matter with the world championships. You didn't play against players from across the world, so it's weird to call NBA championship the world championship. Even though you probably are the best team in the world, I don't think it really matters that much. But he's going out there making this case. I don't really care what he has to say about the world championships. You know, the NBA is the best league in the world. It is what it is. You can call yourselves world champions if you want. But disrespecting someone that's representing his country in a tournament that you didn't even play in this summer, right? You didn't go out there and suit up. You didn't decide to, you know, grind it out, and it's all about hoop, Dame, you know, all this sort of stuff. Dennis Schroder represented his country, went out there and showed out against Team USA, showed out against Serbia, showed out really against everybody. And the fact they're kind of just laughing, oh, he won the MVP, you know, everyone's kind of giggling there. Dame just sort of smirks and doesn't address it. Yes, Dennis Schroder is not the level of you, Damian Lillard, all that type of stuff, but to go out there and be real smug about Dennis Schroder and his ability and what he did over the summer, you know, for Team Germany, leaves a bad taste in my mouth. I'm not a big fan of it, and obviously I'm going to be siding with the guy that's on the Toronto Raptors and stuff, and I don't think Damian Lillard's a big meathead for saying this, but I'm not a big fan of this smugness, this roast, and hopefully Dennis Schroder watches this video and comes out and cooks the Miami Heat or Portland Trailblazers if, he's on one of those teams, and if he is traded to the Toronto Raptors, might be a little bit awkward if that video sort of comes out and leaks, and I'm sure it won't be like beef. I'm sure it wouldn't end up being a confrontation. I guess they both do play similar positions, Schroder and Damian Lillard. They both played with other guards in the past. Schroder with Chris Paul, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, D'Angelo Russell's recent as last season, right? So he can't play off the ball. Damian Lillard's CJ McCollum, my goodness gracious, I can't talk right now, but has played with other guards in the past. So I don't think it'd be the end of the world with those two in the backcourt, but we'll see. I'm still skeptical the Raptors actually take that big swing for Damian Lillard, even with all the reports coming out in recent days. But let me know what you guys think about Damian Lillard's comments there, and if you would want to see him and a Dennis Schroder backup for the Toronto Raptors. But next thing we're taking a look at is an interesting report coming from Brian Windhorst that, has me interested, because one player that has been discussed this entire summer, we all have heard the whole chat about the Toronto Raptors not willing to extend Pascal Siakam this offseason. Pascal Siakam wants to be here. He wants to stay with the Toronto Raptors. He is not willing to sign an extension with any other team. Right? That's what we've heard. That's why he wasn't dealt to those. Why his market's bad. Why other teams aren't forking over big packages. Right? That's been discussed on pretty well every second video on this channel, at least for a couple months there. Well, Brian Windhorst is now saying something that changes the tune a little bit. Recently on his podcast, Tim McMahon, he had some interesting comments where he basically said that Pascal Siakam is probably not that excited to sign that max extension this summer, as a lot of other reports have indicated. And basically saying that, McMahon sort of goes on that he really wants to make All-NBA, which isn't news to anyone, because if he's on the Toronto Raptors, he makes All-NBA, he's potentially going to make a supermax contract for this team. But, he's not that eager. And despite the fact it's really been the reports that Masai Ujiri doesn't want to give, a 5-year max contract to Pascal Siakam, now the reports are swinging on the other side, that Pascal isn't that eager himself to, sign the dotted line on this, massive sum of money he'd be getting, because if he makes All-NBA this season, then he's going to be making a heck of a lot more. So that's why I've been screaming in the echoes of this, sort of studio we got going here. Sign this man, give him this max contract and figure it out. Because one, if you lose him for nothing come next offseason, that is a complete mess. That is a complete L for this organization. It would be brutal. An insane loss that would be tough to recover from if he leaves for nothing. However, if he has a really good season, you want to bring him back, you're going to have to pay him a lot more money if he's on a super max deal than if he's on a regular max contract. So, Masai Ujiri, just extend the man right now. If you want to deal him in a year or so, deal him in a year or so. But let's stop playing games with these hypotheticals and just get this deal done. But I guess if Pascal doesn't want to sign it, he won't sign it. So we'll see what ends up happening there. They also briefly discussed about how the Grizzlies were really interested in OG Anunoby, especially at the trade deadline, and how, multiple first-round picks be willing to be offered. However, that interest is likely waned after they acquired Marcus Smart this offseason and gave away some of their draft capital. So interesting stuff there from Brian Windhorst's podcast. Let me know what you guys think about all that. And the final, subscribe to the channel if you guys haven't already, and definitely sign up using that link down below. Shout out to rentals.ca for supporting the channel. Anyways, I'm signing out. Cheers.